over 20 tips for women how to actually navigate through hookups.
Can
And
you
I
share
love
a
the
few?
tips. Yeah, sure. It's just like, first I start very like in the core. I start with like, what is the hookup and is it for you? So first of all, I want women to be honest with themselves and
Sure.
know themselves. Like, am I someone who is hooking up and I actually can take it? That's why I struggle like this. Or am I really there for just the fun? Or am I looking for romance? I really want a women to sit down with themselves and think about, what am I looking for? What am I after? Am I after divorce and I want 5 years of fun and that's what I'm going to focus on? Or am I
Right.
looking for a boyfriend?
Welcome to the Permission to Heal podcast. I am Marcy Brockman. Together, we will discover what brings us healing, meaning, and true joy. You only need your own permission to begin. All right. Welcome to Permission to Heal. I am Marcy Brockman, and I am really thrilled that you're here today. Thank you so much for tuning in every week and joining us on this healing journey. It's really meaningful to me. Today, I have a conversation with Lia Holmgren. She is an intimacy relationship coach. She has been for more than a decade, and she guides her clients through the modern challenges and exploring the many facets of sexual fantasy. Known for her empathetic nature and direct style and humor, Lia empowers her clients to feel safe in celebrating their authentic sexuality. She holds a master's in negotiation and conflict resolution from Columbia University and a degree in biopsychology. She's a certified wellness coach, a life coach, and a hypnotist. She's been featured on a bazillion media outlets and has now just published a book called Hookup Without Heartbreak: How to Feel Empowered After Casual Sex. And she's very non-judgmental, very open-minded about all sorts of things about hookup culture and sexual fetishes and alternate lifestyles and polyamorous relationships and you name it. And she wrote her book to help people, particularly women, but also men, navigate casual sex and hookup culture and not get their hearts trampled, about knowing their own desires and their expectations and learning how to handle all of the potential minefields and emotionality of all of that. So we had a very interesting conversation. And if you know anybody who is single and in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, maybe it's you, this is applicable. You know, I there are lessons here that my own children and my students and former students could benefit from. You know, I was single in my 20s, as most of us were, and made certain decisions, and single again in my 40s between my two marriages for 10 years. And there was a lot of what Lia talks about that I could have used then to help me navigate what my own expectations and desires were and how I was going about making those things happen. So I think we could all use a little help in this category, and she's pretty amazing. So I hope you enjoy this conversation. Thank you so very much for being here. Hi, I'm so excited to share with you the new Permission to Heal bookshop on bookshop.org. We all know how important it is to support our local and independent bookshops, and I've created a podcast dedicated bookshop on bookshop.org. So just follow along with me at Permission to Heal bookshop on bookshop.org. The link will be attached to the post, and you can have access to the entire catalog of books by my expert guests. You can just click and order from the independent bookshops and support everyone. It's pretty awesome. I've also put a bookshelf with my own Permission to Land books on it and all sorts of books for inspirational help and books that I love. So join me on bookshop.org with the bookshop, the Permission to Heal bookshop. Welcome, Leah. I'm so excited to have you
Hi.
here. How are you today?
Hi, Marcy. Good morning. I'm good. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so thrilled. So, you're in sunny Miami, and I'm in rainy New York, and that's okay. That's cool. I like it. We're on the same time zone, at least. Very cool. So, today we're going to talk about how to protect your heart in the modern hookup culture. And you're going to talk about your book and all things related to that. So why don't you introduce yourself? I mean,
Yeah.
I read your bio in the introduction, but who is Leah? Like, how did you get to doing the things that you do?
So my name is Lia Holmgren, and I'm an intimacy and relationship coach and now an author. I wrote a book, Without Heartbreak, as you mentioned, and I published a book in October last year. It's been a fun project that I worked on in COVID
Yeah.
because I realized that maybe after COVID, people will be really horny and they will want to have a lot of sex after being in lockdowns for so long. So I wanted to write something for women and men to kind of know what to do in those situations, not how to get into hookup situation, but how to navigate out of them and through them.
Ah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think that during lockdown, a lot of people, on the surface, you'd say, what else is there to do but have sex? You know, we can't go
Yeah.
anywhere. We'll stay in our little home bubbles. But then, as I've been reading, there was so much stress going on that people weren't having sex. Um, and then people who were single weren't really going out and dating because it wasn't safe to go see strangers. So I would imagine there's a whole lot of tension release going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would hope. So
No.
you're from Slovakia originally?
Yes. Yes.
That's
But
interesting.
I left Slovakia in 2000, so it's been a long time.
It's been a long
I've
time.
been in Western Europe and then mainly Germany and Switzerland, and then I moved to the US about 15 years ago
Okay. So you did your education here in it
in
looks
New
like in New
York.
York.
Yes,
Yeah, you went to
yes.
Columbia. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then United States just kept your heart.
Yeah. I found it really fun here, so I stayed.
Nice. Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So what made you want to be an intimacy and relationship coach?
I just felt like since I was very young, I would say, even in my teenage time, people felt very comfortable to share things with me. That oftentimes I was like, why are you telling me this?
Right?
But people said, I don't know why, but I feel like I can open up to you because you're non-judgmental. You can listen to people and you can give them objective advice.
Yeah.
And I just felt that that's something I should do. And I'm also sexually very open-minded. I'm kink friendly. I love the lifestyle. I think it's all fine to have fantasies and kinks.
Sure.
That's why I said I'm non-judgmental. Whatever you do, as long you're in consensual sexual relationship and act, it's all okay.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I agree.
yeah, so I went public with that, which caused me a lot of harm in some ways, but also brought me a pleasure of like seeing that I can help people by me being honest. And that's why I became intimacy coach, specializing in kinks and polyamorous lifestyles. I help people to understand those topics. And I think it's important because these are not topics that I can openly discuss with a standard therapist
Right.
because they won't be understood. And the education is not as such in psychology. And I have it all done. I studied psychology for 4 years and mediation afterwards and conflict resolution, which I'm applying in those
Of
conflicts
course.
between couples. And oftentimes they are intractable conflicts where values are mixed into this conflict and differences in values and imaginations and expectations, and it creates a huge mess. So I kind of love to use my education in the sexuality.
That is so cool. Very
Mm.
interesting application of that. I wouldn't
Yeah.
imagine the people who wrote the curriculum for the conflict resolution um, were imagining it applied that way, but I
No,
can
they
see how
weren't.
it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, I was very creative there. It was interesting because from when I was graduating, my thesis was actually on a threesome
Wow.
relationship. That was like two women and a man. They were in this horrible, intractable conflict, and they were just like harming themselves to the point of almost like suicide.
Wow.
And I find from this perspective, to me, it is an intractable conflict and it's very dangerous for them. And I wanted to help them. So I was working with this couple for over 2 years and I wrote my thesis on that. But I was the only one from like hundreds of people that were finishing this class, not in 1 year, but over years,
Of
that would
course.
actually take the knowledge and the science and use it in personal or psychological perspective, because all of the people would use like conflict in the workplace or
Sure.
war or like, you
Politics.
name
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So we need to be creative sometimes because the principles are the same.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I think if more people applied things in a, off-label or out of the box sort of way, we might
Mm-hmm.
we might solve more problems, you
Yeah.
know.
We need to have an open mind, but sadly, most people do not.
No.
And
It's
that's
true.
why, yeah.
It's true.
And I took, I went public because I realized if people have kinks, they want to talk to someone about it. A lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah.
Even women, they struggle with even wanting to have sex with many men because they are ashamed.
Mhm.
They don't want to be judged. So because I'm open about those things, a lot of times people don't mind to reach out and talk to me about it because they want to feel understood and they want to feel like it's okay.
Absolutely. It's absolutely okay to play and explore and be imaginative and try on all
Yeah.
sorts of different, hats and
For us,
corsets
it
or whatever you
is.
want.
For us, it is, but sadly not for everyone. So,
Yeah.
anyways.
Anyway. Anyway. That's cool. Yeah, I would really like to get into some of that discussion because uh um uh, what you said polyamory. I don't
Mhm.
understand the dynamics of that. If we can just jump right into that for half a second, because
Sure.
and it's probably, I'm in my mid 50s, I'm a very sort of, like, if you're to me, if you're in a committed relationship with somebody, you're in a committed relationship with them. But I don't understand the dynamics of a polyamorous relationship. Somebody close to me was in one a year ago, and he was in a relationship with this man, and things were going really well, but the man he was in the relationship with had left the door open, saying that he liked the polyamory thing. He was more bisexual than gay and wanted it left open so that there was the potential to date a girl on the side, kind of thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
And at first, my friend was like, okay, fine. Like, he really wanted to be in a relationship with this guy, so he was willing to agree to that. But then when it actually happened, he was jealous. And
Mm.
I could tell he was jealous, but he wouldn't admit it to himself because he wanted to be able to, I think he didn't want to admit it to himself because he wanted to be able to continue the main relationship with this man. Um, and I look at it, and maybe I'm wrong, but I look at it as sort of a way to escape being in a committed relationship and to maintain the power in the relationship. But maybe I'm looking at it from a totally skewed perspective. So I was hoping you could help.
Yeah, I don't think it's about that. It's just like some people can love more than one person at the same time. And if you don't have the more than one person, then you just don't have the balance in life. You feel like you are stuck, and it's okay because if you find a partner who is also polyamorous, it's fine. Then you have a great relationship. It's just all about the rules. So we would have to sit here for 10 hours to talk about all the details of polyamory
Sure.
because one relationship is complex and then you add four people or three people in the mix and then it's very complex, but it all depends. Some people structure it as is importance levels, like you're my main number one, and then it's two and three, and I have like a girlfriend or boyfriend for traveling, not me, but I'm saying some
Sure, sure,
couples.
sure.
I have a husband, you have a boyfriend, and it depends on those things, or you just treat them all equally and share the time. There are also possibilities, and then it works for some people, and I don't see
Sure.
that polyamorous couples would have worse marriages. They actually are happier, to be honest with you, oftentimes. And they say, "Oh, it doesn't work out." Well, marriages don't work out either. Look at the
Sure.
divorce rate we have. So
Yeah.
it's I wouldn't
Maybe the
contribute
more
it
people
to.
who are involved, you have more of an opportunity to have your needs met.
Yeah. And jealousy is present. It's fine. Like it's actually interesting to be jealous and work on your jealousy. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's quite interesting to understand who you are, like who we are, why we are jealous, where is it coming from, and then you can start this huge process of self growth and healing because
Mm-hmm.
you find out that the jealousy is coming from XYZ, from my childhood, and that is triggering other things in my life. So I hated being jealous when I was younger. Now, when I'm jealous, I actually like it because I like to go deep and understand why I'm jealous and what is actually the threat. And usually we are scared of something. That's why we are jealous,
Sure, sure.
you know?
We're
And
afraid
then
of
what I'm
losing the
scared,
love that
what
we
is my
have.
insecurity? What can I work on? Like, what can I do? How can I help myself to get better? You know? And at the end of the day, sure, if the person leaves, then okay, they leave. And then what?
Then
We
you
put
just,
too much worth on like someone else
yeah.
for our happiness. Like if the person found better relationship with someone else than me,
Hmm.
and it's worth for him or her to leave, then God bless him.
Right.
Have fun, you know, then we were not meant to be together.
Exactly. Exactly. And you wouldn't want that person to stay if you
No,
weren't happy. That's not fair to
because
you
I want to
either.
be, yeah, I want to be with someone. We have the best relationship. We want to be together all the time. It's great. But if they find this ultimate happiness with someone else, then I would be sad, but I would be happy for them. And that's called unconditional love.
Right.
But
Right.
that's, you know, we are like, oh, what if he leaves me? Well, go. I don't care. There are
Exactly.
7 billion people on the planet. I'm sure I won't be alone for too long.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? And I always, when I had a breakup, I would be crying and I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. I want to die. This feels so uncomfortable. And then I found better
Right.
because I
And then that
learned.
time you feel your feelings and they pass,
Yeah, they
and
pass.
then the sun comes out again and you meet someone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. I suggest people don't be self-destructive, like just enjoy your life, be happy you're alone. I mean, sure, it's different when you're older. I wouldn't lie about it. You know, women 50s, 60s, you know, when you stay alone, you don't have as many possibilities. Like men in 50s still do. Like I still
Sure.
see men in mid 50s in Miami, they're dating 20, 30 years younger women. For women, it's not that easy. Let's be straight about it. But also for women in that age, do we really want to go out on dates every day? No.
No.
We much rather hang out with girlfriends, go to a massage and read a book, or like, you know,
Right. Or
we're
go
not,
travel and take a
yeah,
trip or,
travel, yeah, go to museum. Like we don't have that, like, okay, I need to have a boy toy with me all the time. You know, the sex becomes less important in that age.
mhm.
So people say, oh, she will stay alone. I'm like, I know plenty of women, they want to be alone in that age because, okay, marriage didn't work out. And now I can actually finally enjoy my life without trying to hunt a guy.
Yeah. Could
So it's
be.
all about perspective, you know? And I
Absolutely.
love to look at things in positive way. And that's why I wrote the book on hookups because I saw so much shame about women. They love casual sex. And I suffer with that my whole life. Like I've been always judged by people and especially women
Right.
because I loved sex and I wanted to have fun,
Right. Yeah, there's
you
a
know?
lot of slut shaming, as they put it, I think is the word in 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 the United States. I don't know about anywhere else in the world, but there's a lot of judgment about.
It's everywhere. It's in Europe the same.
Yeah.
You know, like Germany, like people are open for swinging. They love swinger clubs. I used to own one there with a partner of mine, with a business partner. We used to have a swinger club for couples, which I don't own anymore, but we used to. And they love going to those swinger clubs. But the moment you see another woman who is not with a couple as a man,
Yeah.
there's such huge amount of jealousy. So they're open-minded, but they're not. You know, it's like all
Right.
really strange. So Europe is also like that. You know, it's not only the US. It's, I think the whole world has this issue with sexuality. Sexuality is very triggering, and that's why I think that the book I wrote, you know, it's for women mostly, but also for men. There's a couple of chapters for men, how to actually, you know, everyone wants to have blog posts on how to get laid, how to hook up, what to wear, what to say. No, that I think we got this figured out. We know how to do it.
Right.
But I wanted to focus more on how do we get out of it if it doesn't go the way we want it,
Right.
because I think that's what we struggle with. You know, everyone is like all the publications get us into this moment when we are in a hookup, but nobody helps us to get out of it. How do we actually clean the mess that's psychologically in us, or, you know,
Right.
the shame and the fear, the anger? And, you know, I also want to help women to not victimize themselves afterwards, because a lot of women do that. And I think it's very detrimental to our well being.
What do you mean victimize?
just like a lot of times women have sex and then they come home and they start this dwelling on the experience,
Right.
like
It's
why
fun while
didn't
it's
you
happening, but we
oh,
feel like shit afterwards.
yeah, and like oftentimes they would blame the guy, like he got me to have sex with him, or like he like pushed me, or like all these things. And like last years it's even worse, that is almost bordering on like sexual abuse.
Right.
And I'm seeing all of this and I'm like, oh my god, what's going on with this world? Like just have sex, come home, and move on.
And move on. Yeah.
Enjoy, like you had great time, I hope you did.
Right.
And after another experience, and is he gonna call me? I don't care.
Yeah. I had a period of time in my 20s that I was single and dating and having sex however I wanted to, and the same thing in my 40s. I was single for almost 10 years and
Nice.
dating whoever I wanted to date, and it was
Yeah.
a healing process for me. Like, I went into dating in my 40s with the same mindset that I had in my 20s, which
Yeah.
wasn't healthy or appropriate. And then I quickly realized, well, I mean, not so quickly, but eventually I realized that it wasn't important at all whether the guy I was dating liked me. What was important was that I liked myself in that situation, and that
Yeah.
I could feel comfortable enough to be authentically Marcy and not try to put on a personality or an affectation that would appeal to him. Because I don't
Yeah.
know him. How do
Yeah.
you predict what a stranger wants from a relationship or a hookup or anything? You just have to go in there 100% yourself. And if it gels and it vibes, then great. And if it doesn't, you didn't lose anything because you didn't have
No,
anything to start with.
I know. And then you read all these things like, oh, I gave him my pussy. I'm like, you didn't. You guys had sex. Like this is like not
Right,
that you take your pussy in a box, give it to him, he uses it. You are there present.
right.
And enjoy. Like I want women to just enjoy this moment and stop overthinking
Yeah,
and dwelling on things later on and just having a good time. And I like the Buddhist approach too. Just let go of things, let go of these negative thoughts and like overthinking. And as you said, like he comes back, we have like, but maybe I don't want him to come back either.
yeah, there were plenty of people who I met and had fun with and didn't really want to see again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
You
fine.
know,
Like happens from both sides.
yeah, maybe he was attractive but dumb as a post. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Or bad in like it didn't work for me in the bedroom. So
right.
like why would
There was
I
that
worry
too.
about it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted
There's
to
that too.
just help women to have fun and enjoy their life and not overthink. It's like pretty much simple. And for guys, I wanted to have the guys to understand why women act certain ways that might sound clingy to them,
Right.
but it's actually not they are clingy, but it's the hormones and all of that what happens in female mind. And I understand some women are just not into casual sex, and that's not what the book is for. The book is
Right.
for women that actually want to have casual sex. They want to explore this possibility. Because I
Sure.
had some judgmental women who would read my book and leave me a horrible review, like, oh, this book is only for women. They want to have sex with so many guys and da da da. I'm like, well, that's what is in disclaimer at the very first page of the book.
Right. I mean, the title is Hookup Without Heartbreak, not
Yeah,
Everlasting Love Without Heartbreak.
exactly. And the
Right.
very first thing I say, this is for women. They are open-minded for potentially hooking up or are hooking up. Not
Right.
for women. They want to like have like complete psychological transformation, because that's not what 140 pages can do. That's like what half year of sexuality coaching can do, maybe.
Right.
You know,
So how is it different from men? Like, what do you tell men to help them decode what women are saying, or vice versa?
it's just more like I want men to be a little bit more loving and understanding after they have sex with someone, because I just don't want them to dump the woman in an ugly way without even talking to her or understanding.
Right.
And I did so much research for this because I wondered what other women want. Like for me, for example, I like to have a closure.
Hmm.
So if I had really, like, for me, if I had bad time with a guy, he never calls me or the sex didn't go well, we both knew it's not for us and he never calls, I'm okay with that because it's pretty self-explanatory.
Sure.
What I don't understand and never could understand, even from my life, is when you have like weeks and months of flirt with someone and clearly he's into you. And then finally you decide to have a rocking night and you have an amazing time. You have like orgasm after orgasm, he does, like it's extremely connecting.
Right.
And then he disappears.
Yeah, what is that?
Exactly. Or he just
What
says,
is
okay,
that?
thanks, it was nice. It was like,
Was it all
even
about
like a
the
message
hunt and the conquest? I don't
yeah,
know.
and he doesn't want to like repeat this. And that's what for me was not understanding. Even if I would make it very clear that I am not into relationship and I want to just have the same fun, but oftentimes the guys would just move on. And I'm like, you don't want something that good. So I'm like, okay, they're lying. Is that good? Or like, what's going on with these guys? And why am I so attached to this person that I barely know?
Right.
So I wanted them to be understanding, because, you know, if they just like become suddenly really cold, and I know many times guys, they just come and they become colder. They don't want to cuddle. They don't want to reach out. You know, you can just like be after someone for 3 months and then send a message like, oh, it was great. Thank you so much. I will see you another time. And that's it.
Right.
You know, it doesn't work for women. It's really difficult. And for guys, it does, because they move on, they compartmentalize. They're off to spread their semen elsewhere. That's how the nature works. And now
Right.
women, what
Biological
I
drive.
exactly, and what women are attached oftentimes for a period of couple of weeks. And I learned from like the history and you know, like when I was reading a lot of books on this and done my research for this book, I read over 100 research studies. It's because we might be pregnant and it's still encoded in us. Although we have birth control, we are like, oh my God, and now maybe I'm pregnant and he's leaving. You get this like anxiety and this fear.
Right.
Because in the past, you wouldn't be able to survive alone with a baby.
Right.
You know, you would die. Like you need a tribe, you need a man to protect back before agriculture. Yeah. So if the guy just disappears and is really cold, you get this subconscious anxiety of, oh my God. And it passes after a couple of weeks, but it's very uncomfortable. So I think in that moment when it passes, if the guy could be a little bit nicer, and I personally like to, I'm not saying he needs to see me again, but at least give a little bit of attention.
Sure, a phone
until
call, a conversation, something.
Yeah.
Instead of
text,
just this ghosting thing. Like, I don't understand that.
Or just being really cold. Yeah, it's like really like, because we know that before you fucked me, he was really nice
and interesting,
very attentive, and, like everything mattered, like, and now suddenly it's like boom, cold, ice cold, and that is really annoying. So I wrote a little chapter for guys. It said, if you don't want to see her again, or you are not interested, like just be nice. And I personally like when guys tell me, hey, I don't want to see you again because, and oftentimes we think it's personal, but oftentimes the guy says, the sex was so good, I know if I'm going to see you 2-3 times, I will fall in love with you.
Right.
But I have to leave for work, or I have a family, like, or I'm divorcing, or I'm not saying he must be married immediately, but I have a son or kids, I'm divorced, like, I don't want to get into another something. Yeah. And I would love to know this, because then I say, oh, wow, that makes sense. And quite honestly, I would probably fall in love with you too. So, okay, let's just be smart about this. Let's not do it.
Right. Yeah.
We need to be hard with this.
Some really, on the line honesty, I think, is always, it may feel uncomfortable in the moment to say that, but ultimately it's the kindest thing that we can do.
Yeah.
I remember in my 20s, I went on, my stepmom not hooked me up, that's what you says the wrong way, set me up on a blind date with the son of one of her friends. And she was really excited and thought we would really get along. And it was just a daytime date. We were in Manhattan and we went to the MoMA and had lunch and looked at paintings. I mean, that was the whole thing. And it was like 3 excruciating hours. There wasn't a single thing about this man that I liked. I was not attracted to him. He was just pompous and obnoxious, and like, we did no way. And so we made it through the whole date. We walked back to where our cars were, and he was just doing the obligatory, it was so nice to meet you, I hope we can do this again. And I looked at him and I had this sort of out of body moment where I was like, yeah, no. And I said, I hope you have a wonderful life, but don't call me again. Lose my number.
Yeah.
This didn't work for me.
Yeah.
But you're great for someone else.
Yeah. And that's exactly beautiful to say, because like the energies don't need to, and Sure, I don't want a guy to tell me, hey, I don't like your ass, or like, no, don't say people something they will carry with them for rest of their lives and have a complex about it. They will feel bad about it.
Oh, I
Like they
had
will,
plenty of that in my 40s. Yeah. People
you
said
know,
some
but
really shitty things. Yeah.
you did to guys
Oh,
or guys to you?
no, to me,
Oh
absolutely.
no, really?
Yeah, like,
It's
oh, you're
horrible.
so, like after our first date, oh, you're so great. I really loved the conversation. We really connected, but you're too fat for me. Or your ass is too big, or you're too curvy. I had one guy tell me that
But
I
it
was
didn't matter when they wanted to have sex with you
no, we didn't
first
have
time.
sex. We were just
Oh, okay.
having conversation, and it it's not going to go anywhere because you're too fat for me.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
well,
that's horrible.
there are easier ways to say that aren't so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
obnoxious.
That's what I said in the book too. I said, guys, don't say this to people. Don't say, oh, I don't want to see you because you have bad breath. There are plenty of guys with bad breath,
Right.
but I wouldn't say it to them. I mean, unless, I'm with him and I want him to fix it, of course. But just say, I think we don't connect energetically.
Right.
All right,
Right.
it's not for me right now. I'm on different.
Exactly. There are
And
ways to
the
say things.
honesty, but I had girlfriends, they said, I can't deal with honesty. I don't want to know. And they let want the guys to lie and tell them something else.
No.
And I don't
I
don't know,
don't want
that's
to have to
weird.
deal with the phone calls afterwards or a text message afterwards
Yeah.
that
No,
perpetuates the falsehood.
no,
Just I don't have time or energy for that. Just be done with
no.
it. Let's move on
Yeah,
to something else.
yeah, yeah. But like oftentimes guys don't want to say, and I interviewed 50 guys for this book, and they all said, like most of them said there were like little amount of guys. I have the statistics in the book. I don't remember exactly how many guys, but very little amount actually said, I would be honest with her, so I don't waste her time. But a lot of guys said, I'm not going to tell her that she's not for me because maybe one day I'm really horny. There's no one else to call.
Oh, good.
Yes, I'm keeping her for a booty call. And I'm like, this is disgusting. Yeah.
Let's string
So
her
that's
along just in
yeah,
case I have
yeah,
a lonely night and I'm
yeah,
desperate.
yeah. I'm desperate and I have no one else to have sex with. So I had that
Wow.
too. Yeah. And only one or two guys out of 50 said that would ghost her. Actually, most guys wouldn't ghost. And the guys they said they would ghost, they were in their 20s.
Yeah.
Seems like guys in 30s, 40s, 50s, they just don't ghost people. Like, that's like, I mean, really?
Yeah. I think I didn't actually hear of ghosting as a term until my younger two children were in college and dating and so on, and that happened to both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I don't
it's
remember.
weird.
I'm sure it happened to me
I
too.
mean, the process of it happens. It happened to me when I was
Yeah.
in my 20s, but we didn't call it that. We just
Yeah. 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 Of
There
course.
wasn't a
Yeah. It's a
term. The
new.
guy just
Yeah.
disappeared. Yeah, I dated this dated very it was a last series of hookups
Yeah.
during the winter of my junior year of college or something.
Yeah.
And then the guy just disappeared. And we go to the same campus. We go to the same school. So I hunted him down and I'm like cuz there was no cell phones. It was like
Yeah. 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 Of
1989 or
course. I was
something,
growing up without cell phones too. So,
Right. So there was no way of getting to him, and I kept showing up at his dorm and he wasn't there. And eventually I caught up to him and I'm like, what the freaking hell happened?
Mhm.
I don't care if it's over. It's obviously over. I just need to know what happened. The mystery of this is just driving me insane. And
Yes.
he's like, I was just seeing you during winter break while my actual girlfriend was home on vacation, and now she's back and it could be over. And I'm like, well, why not just tell me that?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
the love of my life.
Yeah.
I just need the mystery solved.
Yeah, I know. I know. This is driving me crazy too. But at some point, I advise women in the book, like if this is the case and you're asking why, like just move on because
Yeah,
this
right,
question why will never be answered really. Like in life, we can ask why every day. There are things happening to us that we are like, why is this happening to me?
right.
So
And you're
just move
not going
on.
to get an
Like,
answer.
sure, you can try to reach him, but if he doesn't want to talk, then like you don't want to spend months thinking why and taking things personally because it's most likely his problem too. He has
Oh,
a problem.
absolutely.
And his
Absolutely.
problem is that he has no balls to talk to you directly. And that's not a guy I want to have in the first place. Like if man can talk to me directly and tell me into my eyes that, you know what, this is not for me, he's not a man I want to be with in first place.
Sure.
So
Sure.
then I move on even faster.
So, are there criteria or guidelines that you offer women to help them figure out who is safe to hook up with, or how to navigate their own desires and emotionality as they're getting involved with somebody?
Yeah, I have over 20 tips for women how to actually navigate through hookups.
Can
And
you
I
share
love
a
the
few?
tips. Yeah, sure. It's just like, first I start very like in the core. I start with like, what is the hookup and is it for you? So first of all, I want women to be honest with themselves and
Sure.
know themselves. Like, am I someone who is hooking up and I actually can take it? That's why I struggle like this. Or am I really there for just the fun? Or am I looking for romance? I really want women to sit down with themselves and think about, what am I looking for? What am I after? Am I after divorce and I want 5 years of fun and that's what I'm going to focus on? Or am I
Right.
looking for a boyfriend? That's very important. And then, just the security measures, like, am I going to feel bad after? And then you go like, what do you do? How do you like act after the fact? If he's texting you or he doesn't text you or his reply is lame, what do you do then?
Right.
What if he's like hiding? What if he ghosts you? Like, there's all this communication is a really, really detailed focus on communication in detail. So how do you navigate a communication after? Like, how can you reach out to him? What do you actually say? Because a lot of
Sure.
times I had women, they came to me for coaching and they would not know what to text to these guys. And I felt so bad. I'm like, you're not only feeling bad after you had sex with someone, but now you're paying me $300 an hour to help you construct a text message to a guy you barely know.
Right. Just say
It's,
whatever you want to say. Why overthink it?
I know, great time waste, money waste. So I felt really bad. And I just want women to be honest. I'm like, look, are you falling in love with him? Be honest about it.
Right.
Because guess what? Maybe he's falling in love with you too. And if he's not, then it's better to stop right now, because more you're going to see him, it's going to get worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the hardest one, I think, when you have really good time with someone and you want to see him for casual sex, but you're actually in love with him and you have to stop it.
I
Then
mean,
I have a
that
chapter on like abuse, like what to do when things happen, like how to protect yourself from those things. And then I have like, there's so much in the book. It's not a huge book, but it's very useful. I think it goes straight to the point. It's like pros and cons of hookups, where you can actually see 10 pros and 10 cons, and then you can write down, okay, I can deal with this, but I can't deal with that. And if you have more cons than pros, then don't do it.
absolutely.
Very
Absolutely.
simple, like everything in life. And it's good to break this down for women, because I don't want them to be surprised. Yeah, you might be shamed afterwards. Yeah, you might feel some shame if you have sex with someone and you feel like you exposed yourself, but it's okay. Just, move on. Don't blame anyone for that. We are adults, like we are we are able to make decisions for ourselves. And once we made the decision, we shouldn't look back.
And
It's
it's sort
like,
of a mindset shift, I think. Like if you
yeah,
go into it with sort of an older generation sensibility, then you might feel more shame, or yeah, I guess it's shame afterwards,
yeah,
like that you had
yeah,
done that. But at the
yeah,
same time, if you feel like, he used you, you're also using him.
yeah,
It goes both ways. I think it's a little bit of a mindset shift
yeah,
that's
it is.
difficult to navigate, I guess, but makes it ultimately easier.
Yeah, for sure. And, we shouldn't, honestly, this, like, he used me, it's detrimental, because you feel like a victim and you start victimizing yourself and you start creating trauma in your brain that shouldn't be there. And trauma is not good for us. It makes us sick at the end. We are like traumatizing our own brain with this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he forced me to do it. I'm poor. And I'm like, you start dwelling on these things and then you feel like victim in every aspect of your life. And it's not good. It's
No.
literally feeling like that. In long run, you will create a lot of other issues for
A
yourself.
lot of other issues, and then
Yeah,
make future choices based on that
the trauma.
victimization, based on
Yeah,
the trauma of that.
exactly. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So it's not healthy at all.
No, absolutely not.
No. No. Um, so how has modern technology, this is one of the questions you suggested I ask you in the intake form, how has modern technology aided or hindered dating communication? Like, do you think it's easier for this generation with the ubiquity of cell phones and things to meet people and actually organize this than it was for us
Oh,
before the cell phones?
100%. 100%. It's much easier. I mean, you can get laid every day through social media if you want.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing. Like
Tinder,
Instagram,
swipe
Facebook,
right,
like
we're good. Yeah.
it's all the dating sites. Like most people in 20s that I talk to, like younger people,
Yeah.
I ask them, where do you mostly meet your partners? They say on Twitter or Instagram,
Really?
which is fascinating. Yeah, like the kids in 20s, I would say.
I met a guy once through Words with Friends.
Yeah. Yeah, you
We
do.
were
And it's great because you
so
can
funny.
actually see them and you see how they act. Like you can actually, if you're following someone you have crush on social media, after a while you can understand who they are because of what they are posting. And then you
Sure.
see, oh, I like them, I don't like them. Then you can reach out and see, you
Interesting.
know? And
So it
it's like
isn't
the
even
flirt
dating
because,
sites, it's social
yeah,
media now.
social
Interesting.
media. Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Why would you pay for dating site? I mean, social media are great because you create a persona and then who likes the persona will go like you and follow you and interact with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got that whole section on Instagram where strangers or who you're not friends with can message you.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do with them. I've got a whole
Oh, yeah.
bunch of
It's
them of
crazy.
guys trying to like flirt with me. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
am a almost 54-year-old
Yeah.
married woman with four
Yeah.
children, you know?
Yeah. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
you know?
No, I know, but I'm like, there's nothing about anything on my Instagram that's going to say that I'm open to that. And so
Yeah.
I don't even know how to respond to, I just don't
You
respond.
don't respond. But that's the beauty about being a woman, you know? It doesn't really matter how old you are. You always find men for having sex. And the women that tell me it's not true, they
Aren't
just have
trying
a
hard enough.
problem. They have no self-esteem, they're hateful, and they don't understand. They just will not accept the positive news that, oh, I can get laid anywhere I want.
Right.
Because women are like, oh, only young girls. No, it's not true. Like
No, it's not
it's
true.
not, even women, as you said, a little bit overweight, it doesn't matter. They're men, they love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't
The
matter.
men, they love women. Like some men consider me ugly because I'm skinny. It happened to me. Guys said I would not touch you because you have no ass.
Okay. Well, I'll share. I have plenty.
It goes both ways. So like I always tell women, I'm like, don't despair. You can always have fun if you want.
Exactly.
But then like
Exactly.
the truth is the women that I worked with, they're in their late 40s, 50s, they say, I just don't want to like, I can't imagine to just go and fuck someone. But it's the mindset.
Right, and that's not for everybody. You know, if you don't
It's,
want to go do that, then don't go do
don't
that.
do it. But then don't complain and hate people. They actually do it,
Right.
you know, because that's not fair. I'm not going to hate you because you don't do it. So don't hate me because I would do it.
Well, there's a lot in society. I mean, we could talk about this for days
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
people are judgmental against people who do things or make choices that they wouldn't make. You
And
know,
the
like,
truth is, they would love to make those choices, but they are scared and don't know how. And they choose to hate the people they actually do them. And that's
yeah,
oftentimes what happens
yeah,
because people hate that what they would like to have and they can't because they don't know how, or something they don't understand and are scared of.
yeah.
But already that they are actually spending energy and thinking about it and hating it means that they're interested.
Oh, well, that's interesting. That's an interesting way of looking
Mm-hmm.
at it too.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in it and it doesn't enter your
Yeah.
radar at all, then
Yeah.
that's fine. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
obsessing over it, then
Yeah.
you probably have an interest and you just
Exactly.
don't know what to do with it.
Exactly. Subconsciously, yeah, oftentimes. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So what do you tell those people? I mean, do they how do you navigate that?
Honestly, if I don't like to deal with judgmental people. I was
Yeah.
open-minded since I was very young. I always loved people. I loved new things. I wasn't judging people for like I judge people for being bad people. Like when I see someone who is using someone or I see just someone having a bad character, I am judgmental towards that. But if you choose to like do anything with business or sexuality or life or friends and traveling or you have a certain lifestyle, I do not judge that.
Sure.
You know, and if people are judgmental, I just choose to not have them in my life, to be honest with you. And when I coached people that I would see that they're heavily judgmental and they literally came to do a session with me. And in the session, they almost started offending me because I chose this line of work. And they thought like they would come to coaching with me to try to tell me that what I'm doing wrong.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, okay. So that was surely the last time I would work with these people.
Wow.
Like they come to me to learn how they can like have more fun in sex or bedroom. And when I have a coaching with them, they actually tell me that what I'm believing in is not right. So I'm like, why do you come here spending $500? Like,
That doesn't
I
make
don't
any
get it.
sense whatsoever.
So
Maybe
then you
they
see
just
like they
got
have
scared after, in the moment
scared. No,
and
I think that they have
retreated.
such deeply rooted trauma from like, or not even trauma, just judgment that's deeply rooted from their upbringing or what they believe in, that they get so scared. Yeah, scared probably, or just judgmental even more after. I don't know. But yeah, I don't want to work with people like that. I make it
Yeah.
very, very clear that I'm open-minded and non-judgmental, but the same thing I want from people coming to me, because otherwise save your money and my time. I don't want that energy around me, to be honest.
Yeah. So what do you tell somebody who is in a relationship with somebody, not a relationship, maybe it starts out as a hookup and she starts feeling more feelings than he is.
Mhm.
How do you mitigate that, or manage, what kind of strategies would you tell this young woman to handle the situation that she finds herself in?
Well, you have to ask yourself, what do you expect from this guy? What is your ideal outcome? And am I really in love with him having feelings, or is it just me being completely fooled by my hormones and me like having like, because having lust is oftentimes confused with love.
Mm-hmm.
And like I really want the women to sit down and say, okay, let's think, what do I love about him? What is there that special about him that I don't have with other guys or friends or me, myself, and my girlfriends? Like,
Right.
does he make me laugh, or like, all these things, and be very honest about it, and then look at his life. Like, do I like the way he lives his life? Would I want to have husband like this for 10, 20 years? Would I want to be living with someone? Is he clean? How is his household? Like all these things that I want to know. And then you can rationally say, okay, no, this is not a guy I could be with. So let's not get crazy about him and enjoy the sex if it's good.
Right.
Or is it someone really like checking all the boxes, and I'm here with someone that could potentially be my partner? Then you need to try your best to make him love you. You can read other books, which my book is not on that, but you can read the Art of Seduction from Robert Greene, which I absolutely love. That's like how you make people completely crazy about you. And you can strategically do it. And
Mm-hmm.
certainly like giving less is more and showing less is more. And a lot of women did that. They had guys that were tall players and they were loved sex with them, but there was not even a small chance to end up, and they made them marry these women. Like they actually made them, in love. I would
Interesting.
say made them, because it's a strategic process, and I don't know women, they would spend months and sometimes even years to get these guys committing, but
Mm-hmm.
they knew they're worth it. They just are, not into the relationship, but they made them do it slowly and strategically.
Wow.
But you need to know if you want to do the work and for whom you want to do the work. Is the guy really worth your time? That's what I ask all the women. And they say, I don't
Right.
know. Then
Then the
slowly
answer
be
is no.
finding out. Yeah, exactly. Just move
Yeah.
on to something else. Learn Spanish, or I don't know. That's what I want to do.
That's
I don't know.
awesome.
All the time and energy, right?
That's very cool. That's very
Yeah.
cool. I wish that I had this book 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's
Right. I
awesome.
know.
That's awesome. So, it's the time of the conversation where we do the 7 quick questions. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, what 6 words would you use to describe yourself?
Joyful, passionate, funny, impatient.
Hmm.
I have 2 more, right?
Yes.
Energetic
Yeah.
and unable to focus.
Okay.
ADHD right here.
Okay, baby. What's your favorite way to spend a day?
I love to be moving. I love to do things. Working out, trading. I trade the stock market almost every morning.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. And then just creating things, writing blog posts, or like learning, exploring. Every
Nice.
day I want to learn something.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. An insatiable curiosity about things.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your favorite childhood memory?
Hmm. Probably having a dog.
Really?
It's my one and only dog I had.
What kind
Yeah,
of a dog?
boxer. He was so cute.
Oh, those are so
It was
adorable.
fun. Yeah, yeah,
Nice. Was he
yeah.
your like canine best friend as a kid?
No, it was just fun animal to have. Yeah,
Okay, that's fair.
11 years.
Wow. What's your favorite meal? Type of food
Salad.
to eat? Salad. Wow.
Yeah. I have
Any
to have everyday salad, huge doses of salad. I'm actually addicted to salad and I crave salads.
interesting. Any
Hmm.
particular ingredients that you
I
like the
love Greek
best?
salad so much. Yeah.
Lovely.
With a little bit of feta cheese and like the fresh cucumbers. But I add salad leaves into it, which is not Greek salad, but I need the green leaves. It's nice when
Sure.
it's crunchy.
Yeah, definitely. Soggy salad, forget. No.
Yeah.
What one piece of advice would you give your younger self?
Don't waste time with men.
Yeah.
Because the time I wasted with guys for no reason, I could have made millions of dollars instead.
Or millions of other happy memories instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or learn, like, I don't know. I mean, I have master degree, but I could have built businesses and do things and just like basically do not waste time with men because most of the time it's not worth it. And women do it all the time.
Yeah.
They
Lord
fall
knows
in
I
love,
have.
they leave their careers, they move, they don't do businesses, they go completely crazy about the guy, they move to other cities, they forget their lives. And I wasted my whole 20s with stupid men, like
Yeah.
literally. Time that nobody will give me back. I could have
No.
studied back then. I didn't have to go to school in my 30s like crazy. And I was in love trying to like marry and have family. And I just was completely useless with the wrong guys. The
Yeah.
worst. Yeah.
Yeah, I did
So
that
10
too.
years I wasted really with wrong guys.
Did
They
you
took me
learn
my life.
something from yourself from that experience?
No, just move on fast, like just be honest, don't dwell on things. I was dwelling on things in relationships that were completely sick and dysfunctional, wasting my time,
Yeah.
you know. And that's why I wrote the book. I don't want women to do this. This is the worst, and especially not for casual sex.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
useless. Yeah.
Absolutely. What is one thing you would like to change about the world?
Yeah, just I think like we're so divided right now. I think that I would love people to have more understanding for each other and go less radical. I think we are just going too radical right and left,
Yeah, too many
especially in the
extremes.
US. Too many extremes. Like just be normal, literally. Like be understanding, helpful and understand like people almost are losing the intelligence to understand the other party.
Oh yeah, I
And
see
instead
that
of like
very much.
understanding and saying, okay, someone might have a different opinion, we just hate.
Yeah.
It makes me sick, really.
Yeah, there's a very significant loss in the ability to understand, comprehend, be empathic towards people whose views are different than yours.
Yeah. Or lifestyles or anything. People are just too extreme. It's like my way or highway.
Yeah.
And they go like literally completely crazy extreme if it's not done their way or understood like their way. And I see it in only in politics and everything pretty much.
Yeah. And
Just
and
too
I don't think it
extreme.
was like that. Like I don't think the world
No.
was like this
It's just like last
before.
5 years, completely crazy.
Yeah.
Politics, sexuality, the movements also. Like it's all just too radical. Like we won't get anywhere if we are too radical. It's just not
Hopefully
gonna
it's just part
happen.
of a pendulum swing,
I hope so
and that
too.
it will slowly sort of find the middle
Normalize.
moderate
But I
ground
think
again.
that like oftentimes in relationships when couples are fighting, they need the escalation and the big crash, like big crash, like not just a fight. You need something so bad that it's going to completely break them or it's going to make them stronger,
Right.
you know? And the
Revolution.
same I was thinking for the world. Like we need some horrible thing to happen that we all realize that, okay, let's hang together. And
I
the
would have
COVID
thought the
didn't do it.
pandemic was that.
Yeah, me too. And maybe at the beginning, but it even made us more divided because of the vaccines, which
Sure.
is completely crazy. Like,
Which
why do
is
we even spend
ridiculous.
time? Ridiculous. Or the masks. Like, who cares? Just like wear the mask. Don't wear, like, just don't hate others for doing so or so. And now we have the war.
Yeah.
which is getting like, it's just getting worse. And I really worry that if we're not gonna become normal and understanding and loving towards each other, we're just gonna have massive escalation that's gonna wipe out half of the population.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
what I think.
I agree.
Because we
Absolutely.
are just not learning from our mistakes. We're just getting worse and worse. Humanity is getting worse. And I'm sure, like, by research, we live in the safest planet ever. And like the world is the safest as it ever has been, comparison to the past. But it can all change,
In the blink of
you
an eye.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I
History's
would wish
proved
for the
that for
world.
sure.
But yeah.
Okay, now completely changing, getting a little frivolous here. What TV shows are you binging and loving right now?
I don't watch TV.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
I watch a movie maybe once a month when I'm like bored or I have like evening, I don't know what to do, but that's very rare.
Wow.
Yeah. And in COVID, I watched The Royals, which was about the English royal family, which I like because of all the history.
Sure.
What else did I watch? I don't know. That's probably one I like. I don't watch any of the Bridgertons and stuff like that. It's just too commercial for me. Yeah, but I don't watch TV. And I watched
That's
Tommy
cool.
Lee and Pamela, which was quite interesting for me because I'm fighting for female, and she was slut shamed, and that's what the movie's about. How they
Right.
dealt with her with the sex tape, and yeah, I could feel for her because it
Wow.
was just really ugly back then towards women. We had like no rights basically in the 90s even.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that the teenagers and the 20 somethings nowadays sort of take for granted
yeah,
the the position that women
yeah,
have now,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that it's
Oh
still
yeah,
not anything like what we deserve or what is fair or what is right, but it's
yeah,
much better than it used to be, and in such a short period of time.
yeah.
Interesting.
I just wish we would go around it with a tactical, strategic way and be nice about it instead of fighting, because it just doesn't look nice if women get angry and aggressive about it and like demanding things. Like we would be much more charming and get much more from men if you would be sweet about it and like, oh, great, you know. It's just a strategic way. But I see so many angry women, they are like forcing men to like, sure, like we live in patriarchy world. I don't agree with that, but that's how it's been for thousands of years. So we have to be a little bit more strategic about those things. And I think we are often not, and we are just causing a lot of fights
More strife.
that's going again nowhere, because like even Me Too, it just made it worse for women and everywhere. Like they can't even have like male, oftentimes, like I know companies wouldn't hire women, they look sexy because they're worried of this.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have like, you know, teachers or tutors, they would, or coaches that would be male, and oftentimes the males are very valuable and I would love to learn with males, but oftentimes the big companies would not have men coaching women.
Right.
And that's horrible where we got from with this, and that's again because it got too radical. So yeah, anyways. Yeah,
Could talk about that forever.
yeah,
And every little, I mean, I see it as a teacher in education, you know, like
yeah,
you need both sexes.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway.
Anyways, all right.
This was a lovely conversation. Thank
Yes.
you for being on Permission to Heal, Lia. It was lovely to meet you.
Yeah, very
I'm
nice meeting you. It was very sweet, very nice. I'm with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. Have a good day.
You as well.
Mm.
I am very proud of this Permission to Heal podcast. I want to thank all of you for listening each week, and I'm so glad that it speaks to you. Creating and producing this podcast brings joy to my life, but honestly, I need your help because I find commercials annoying when I listen to podcasts. I don't have commercials on Permission to Heal. I pay for the costs of creating, producing, and marketing this podcast out of my own pocket, and I'm happy to do so, except that times are kind of tough right now, and I could use your help. So through Patreon and a Patreon subscription, you can support the Permission to Heal podcast and help ensure that I'm able to make more episodes and share them with the world. There are several subscription levels that come with different perks and swag. If you're able to, and if you are inclined to, I would really, really appreciate your help. please go to www.patreon.com/permission to heal. Patreon, patreon.com/permission to heal. And it's linked in the show notes, so scroll down, click away. Thank you so much for your consideration. I hope you and your families are well and happy. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Permission to Heal. I hope you found it moving and inspirational. Please remember, you don't need anyone else's permission to trust and follow your heart. You have the power within you. Subscribe to Permission to Heal so you don't miss any new episodes, and please share this with your friends.